Check out the video description for details. It's Wednesday, September 6th, and today we're going to do a bit of a shorter show. Yesterday we were rambling on in our return show talking about what we've learned from our mistakes, and that was a whopping 18 minutes, so we're going to try and get back to our normal under 5-minute show. And today we're going to talk about a stock that's been doing pretty positive to us. WWE stock, we look at it as a monopoly. No other game in town really does what they do. So let's take a look at this stock and some of the things that we like about it. Let me pull it up full screen here. Looking at the statistics, it's got a good dividend yield, over 2%. We like that. Let me zoom this in here so you can read it. Much better. Balance sheet is pretty good. More cash than debt and a leverage cash flow of $85 million. Don't have a lot to develop movies and stuff like that, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But good dividend monopoly. Price to earnings is 34 times earnings, so more expensive than your average stock that you're going to find in the S&P 500, but when you compare it to a Netflix or someone like that similar in that they produce original content, certainly not nearly the same. I'm not comparing apples to apples here, but much cheaper, and I've always looked at it as an alternative for Netflix. Now, they're a good play with day trading as well. They spike quite often, and they follow pretty good patterns off of news where you can bounce up and make some good money. Now, one of the interesting things as it's been hitting around 22 here, hopefully you can see that it's right above my head. As it's been maintaining 22 or higher here, could be breaking out above its ceiling, so it could be on a pretty good run. When that happens, that's where you see these streaks where it runs up, and you have a pretty good shift in the price of the stock. So we could be, as it stays above 22, could be seeing some of that right now. But great stock to trade, day trade wise. I like it even better as one to own, again because of the way that it's basically a monopoly. Every time we look at it, we like to review what they've got coming up next, and their product is pretty solid, but one of the things that I like is NXT and what they're doing there, and globally where they're expanding to India, Japan, different places like that. And one of the things that came up was the Mae Young Classic, and I actually checked some of this out, and it was actually really good. A lot of really good matches. This could be a big expansion to them to gain huge audience with female viewership. It was the only thing I could say is it was really good. It was right up there with what you would see on NXT. So they have great development in NXT. They have their big shows, Raw, SmackDown. NXT, as we talked about, you can look at that and you can look at the fan base there growing. It's probably the best indie type wrestling that you have around. It's certainly the best old time wrestling show. And like I said, I was very surprised, pleasantly surprised, and it kind of blew me away the level of performance there on the Mae Young Classic. So I mean, to me, they could almost add a whole women's show. They have 205 Live, which are struggling a little bit, but they're starting to grow and they're starting to develop with some of their projects like this. So long-term future is good for wrestling. One thing a lot of people overlook, maybe for good reason, is their film division is there also. And all they really need is one big hit to hit the map with their film, and they've struggled a little bit. They have Birth of the Dragon. It kind of got panned. That looked like it could be a good, different film from what they usually have. See No Evil was good. I didn't know they made a See No Evil sequel. Um, but looking at their list of movies, you can see why people kind of write it off here. Scorpion King was all right. Rundown was all right. Walking Tall is all right. See No Evil is all right. Marine's all right. It looked like they were kind of coming around. Then they had a lot of them that kind of got panned. Okay movies, nothing great. Nothing certainly that break out. A lot of straight to video, a lot of B movies as I, scroll down through them. Leprechaun Origins, if that got panned pretty good. Do a lot of strange sequels to movies that didn't need sequels. And as they've gotten out of that and started coming back here, they've done some weird partnerships with the Jetsons, and Birth of the Dragons is kind of their step back into, or hopefully they have a string of okay movies to keep them off and running. Like I said, this is just a little bit of an extra, if they ever kind of jump off. It could be good for their stock. 2% dividend on the dips, and they dip here and there. I think it's a great stock to own. We like it with their development in NXT, and certainly the Mae Young Classic was a huge item. Looking good. We like WWE stock, so let me know what you think in the comments in the video here. This is us looking at ones that are doing all right. I'm not going to go through all the ones that we like. Activision, Nintendo, all those are doing very good too, but every once in a while we touch back on WWE. I think it's kind of flying under the radar a little bit still, more popular as the price to earnings goes up, but you want to own a monopoly, they are the ones to own it, and you can collect 2% while you do. Great stock to invest in and hold. Still very long and bullish on it. So let me know what you think in the comments below. That's it for this episode. We'll probably be doing some test streaming of our new format that we're going to filter in live streaming. You'll have to look on Twitter. It's @InvestorXP. The info's behind me. I'll tweet out when we go live. We'll talk about Activision when we finally get the kinks out of that show. It's going to be me doing some gaming and talking stocks as a live stream alternative to just this, where we talk specific stocks or update the portfolio and things. So look to Twitter @InvestorXP. We'll let you know when we're going to be testing that out. Maybe we'll talk some WWE while we're doing the test phases and that. So subscribe if you haven't already. Get the latest investment news for gamers. Give us a thumbs up. Leave us some feedback. Let us know what you think. We're always trying to improve the show. So again, thanks for watching, and we will see you tomorrow.